The ink on the new transfer on death deed is already dry, certified by the county recorder this morning, and my son Philip has no idea. He slides the polished brass key, the one tied with a faded blue ribbon, across the butcher block table. His smile is patient, the kind one uses for a child or a pet. He thinks this is a formality, the final piece of his neat little plan to take control of the Clearwater property. He is mistaken. Cold winter light filters through the dining room window, striping the cedar panels with pale gold. The air smells of the bay leaf I put in the coffee, a habit Elaine started. Philip clears his throat, a small, impatient sound. His wife, Jessica, sits beside him, her fingers steepled. They look like vultures in expensive knitwear. They've come to talk about consolidating assets, about making things simpler for me, in my grief. They mean making things simpler for them. It has been only 3 weeks since we buried his mother. Jessica places a neatly folded bill on the table. We took care of the caterer, Walter, she says, her voice smooth as polished stone. It was $1,280. You can just add it to the estate tally. I look at the invoice for the tasteless sandwiches and weak tea they served after the funeral. They didn't pay it. They just want me to. I nod slowly, my eyes on the butcher block's worn surface. I remember sanding it down with Elaine one summer. Philip leans forward, his hands clasped. Dad, we need to be practical. Mom's passing, it changes the financial landscape. We've had our lawyer draw up some documents to move everything into a single, manageable account. It protects you from probate headaches and simplifies the inheritance down the line. He pushes a sheaf of papers toward me, a thick, intimidating stack held together by a large clip. His fountain pen lies beside it, uncapped and ready. The gesture is not one of assistance. It is one of expectation, of closing a deal. It's just to streamline everything, Jessica adds, her smile not reaching her eyes. Think of it as an organizational tool. Philip will have durable power of attorney, which just means he can help you pay bills and manage the properties without you having to worry about a thing. She says help, but the word hangs in the air like a threat. They see a frail old man, a retired accountant whose mind must be fading. They see a signature waiting to be captured, a hurdle to be cleared before the real prize. I'd pick up the single brass key with the faded blue ribbon. It feels light, almost hollow in my palm, a prop in their little play. Philip thinks this is the only key to the duplex. He's so sure of himself, so confident in my decline. He never asked about the second keyring, the one Elaine always kept tucked away in her sewing box with the silver thimble and spare buttons. A small oversight on his part, but a significant one. The most important things are often hidden in plain sight. Philip taps a page. This one is the most time-sensitive, Dad. It's for the Clearwater duplex. We need to get it titled into the new trust before the end of the quarter for tax purposes. His finger rests on the legal description. I can read it upside down. Parcel 22-15-17-3450. A place Elaine and I bought with the first real money I ever made. A place filled with 30 summers of memories, of salt air and sunburned shoulders. It's just a number on a page. He continues, his voice taking on the tone of a patient teacher. The appraisal came in at $612,000. That's a significant asset just sitting there, Dad. With the market the way it is, we could leverage it, pull out some equity for your long-term care, or even sell it and invest the capital more aggressively. Long-term care. He says it as if I'm already gone, a line item in his budget. I just sip my coffee, letting the bitterness wash over my tongue. I look at the signature line. Walter Price, my name, but the man they want to sign this is not me. He's a fiction they've created, a doddering widower lost in his grief. They have miscalculated. Grief does not make a man weak. For some men, it sharpens the mind. It scours away the unnecessary, leaving only what is essential. And what is essential now is protecting what Elaine and I built. Protecting it from the very person we built it for. A tragic irony. But here we are, in trying to steal my wife's memory. Philip stands, scraping his chair against the hardwood floor. Okay, Dad. Take the day. I'll come by tomorrow morning to pick them up. We can go to the bank together and get them notarized. He pats my shoulder, a gesture that feels both patronizing and proprietary. It's not a question. It's a schedule. My schedule, dictated by him. He's already measuring my life for new drapes, deciding which furniture to keep and which to discard. I am just another piece of furniture he has to deal with before he can redecorate. After they leave, the house settles into a profound silence. It's a quiet I'm still not used to. I walk over to the window, watching Philip's black sedan pull away from the curb. He drives too fast, always in a hurry to get to the next thing. Elaine used to say he was born without a brake pedal. She saw his ambition for what it was, a hunger that could never be satisfied. She worried about him, and, I realize now, she took steps to protect us from him. Quiet, deliberate steps. I carry the stack of papers to my office, the small room at the back of the house where I spent 40 years untangling the finances of other people. The room is neat, everything in its place. Ledgers, tax codes, a faint smell of old paper and graphite. Philip's documents feel foreign here. An intrusion of slick, modern avarice into my analog world. I set them on the blotter, but do not open them. I already know what they say. Their purpose is theft, just wrapped in enough legal jargon to make it feel respectable. My own files are in the bottom drawer of the steel cabinet. Not the household accounts Philip has seen, but my private records. I pull out a thick manila folder labeled simply Clearwater. Inside, the original deed is crisp. The signatures from 1988 still dark. There are property tax receipts, insurance declarations, and a faded photograph of Elaine on the deck, her hair wild in the sea breeze. She loved that place. It was her sanctuary. And before she passed, she made me promise it would remain, one, a place of peace, not profit. I find the document I'm looking for, the certificate of trust. It's dated January 3rd of last year. A cold, clear day. Elaine had just had a difficult checkup with her doctor. We knew our time was getting shorter. We went to see our own lawyer that afternoon, a quiet man named Mr. Abernathy. Philip knows nothing of this meeting. He thinks our legal affairs were handled by his own high-priced firm. Another small oversight. Another crack in his perfect plan. He is building his house on sand. The phone rings, startling me. It's Philip. "Hey, Dad, just checking in. Did you have a chance to look at the papers?" His voice is breezy, but I can hear the tension underneath. He's a bad fisherman, jiggling the line too much. "Not yet, son. I was just sitting here." I let the silence stretch, forcing him to speak again. "Well, don't stress about it. It's all standard stuff. I'll see you in the morning." He hangs up before I can reply. He's not checking in. He's applying pressure. I need to retrieve something from the garage, my old briefcase, the one with the combination lock. I walk through the quiet house, my footsteps echoing on the oak floors. The garage is cold, smelling of gasoline and old lawn clippings. Philip left his car here last week when he borrowed my truck. A new habit of his, treating my house like a satellite office, a storage unit for his convenience. I see his phone is still connected to the car's Bluetooth system. The screen on the dashboard is lit up. Suddenly, the car speakers crackle to life, making me jump. It's an incoming call, and Jessica's name flashes on the dashboard screen. His phone must be set to auto-answer when connected. Before I can react or retreat, her voice fills the cold, still air of the garage, sharp and clear. "Did he sign them yet? Did the old man sign? The agent is getting antsy about the Clearwater listing." A cold dread, hard and heavy, settles in my stomach. The listing. So it was never about my care. I stand motionless, behind the stack of old tires, hidden in the shadows. Philip's voice is a low murmur, but the car's microphone picks it up perfectly. Not yet. He's thinking about it, playing the grieving husband. It's so tedious. But he'll sign tomorrow. He has no choice. Where else is he going to go? He's completely dependent on us now. The contempt in his voice is a physical thing, a poison dart. He doesn't just want my property. He despises my very existence, the inconvenience of my life. Just make sure he signs everything, Philip. The quitclaim deed is the most important. We can't get the pre-approval for the lake house without showing the liquidated asset from the duplex. Just 'cause words are clipped. All business. The lake house. Of course. They're already spending my money, my wife's legacy, on a new life for themselves. A life that does not include me. I am not a father to them anymore. I am a vault to be emptied, a final obstacle on their path to comfort and ease. The call ends. I hear Philip moving around in the kitchen, probably getting a glass of water. Completely oblivious. I stay in the garage for a long time, the cold seeping into my bones. But it's not the winter air that chills me. It's the casual cruelty of their conversation, the complete and utter dismissal of my humanity. They haven't just underestimated me. They have erased me. And in doing so, they have freed me from any obligation I once felt as a father. The game has changed now. They just don't know it yet. I walk back inside, my movements deliberate. I pass the dining room table where Philip's documents still lied, a monument to his arrogance. I don't even glance at them. In my office, I retrieve the briefcase. The tumblers on the lock click open with a familiar sound. 7/18/45. Elaine's birthday. Inside are the real documents, the ones that matter, the signed and notarized paperwork for the Elaine Price Charitable Trust. It's all there, every page in pristine order, certified copies from Mr. Abernathy's office. The plan begins now. No more waiting. My first call is not to Philip. It's to Mr. Abernathy. He picks up on the second ring, his voice calm and reassuring. Walter, I was sorry to hear about Elaine. A wonderful woman. I thank him, then get straight to the point. I need to activate the survivorship provision and file the transfer on death deed for the Clearwater property. My son is making a move on it. I hear him sigh softly. I am not surprised, Walter. The documents are prepared. The trust is irrevocable. His claim is non-existent. Just tell me when. Now, I say. File it now. This morning if you can. There is a pause, then the sound of him typing. Consider it done, Walter. The county recorder will have the electronic filing within the hour. The new deed, listing the trust as the sole owner, will be public record by tomorrow afternoon. Any title search he runs will hit a brick wall. A very solid, very legal brick wall. A small measure of relief washes over me. The first step is complete. The foundation of his plan has been turned to dust. Next, I look at my own finances. Philip thinks my only income is my pension and Social Security. He knows about my primary checking account, the one I use for groceries and utilities. He doesn't know about Act 1298, the investment portfolio I started 40 years ago. The one I manage myself, quietly compounding, far from his prying eyes. It contains more than enough to live on, comfortably, for the rest of my days, without ever touching the properties. Another oversight. He sees an old man, not an accountant. I spend the rest of the day in a state of calm clarity. I am no longer a victim of their predatory grief. I am an architect. I make a list. A simple methodical list, just as I would for an audit. Item 1. File the deed. Done. Item 2. Contact the bank. I call my private banker and put a verbal password on all my accounts, effective immediately. Not my mother's maiden name or my first pet. The password is Elaine's gardenias. A word Philip would never ever guess. A small, protective wall of memory. Item 3. Prepare for tomorrow's meeting. I take Philip's stack of papers and place them in my briefcase. Not the one with the trust documents, but my old work briefcase. I will bring them with me. I will let him think he is winning. Let him walk me into the bank, beaming with success. The higher he climbs on his ladder of assumptions, the farther he will have to fall. An accountant knows that the final calculation is the only one that truly counts. Everything before that is just noise, a distraction from the bottom line. I find myself looking at a photograph of Elaine on the mantelpiece. She is smiling, squinting into the sun on the deck of the Clearwater duplex. We were so young. We built everything we had from scratch, board by board, dollar by dollar. We trusted our only son to honor that. We were wrong. I'll take care of it, my love, I whisper to the photograph. It feels less like a promise and more like a statement of fact. A duty to be performed. The emotional part is over. Now it is just accounting. That evening, I eat a simple dinner of soup and toast at the butcher block table. The house is still quiet, but it's a different kind of quiet now. It is not the sound of absence, but the sound of purpose, of a plan in motion. When Philip calls again around 9, his voice is tight. Just wanted to be sure we're still on for 10 a.m., Dad. Of course, Philip. I say, my voice even. I'll be ready. I have the papers right here. I can almost hear his sigh of relief. He thinks the papers I have are his. He thinks my compliance is a sign of weakness, of a mind finally broken by age and sorrow. He cannot imagine that an old man could harbor such a quiet, cold fury. He cannot conceive of a world where he is not the one in control. This is his greatest weakness, his blindness. He is playing checkers, moving his pieces deliberately across the board, while I had been playing chess from the very beginning, and his king has been in jeopardy for a very long time. I sleep soundly for the first time since the funeral. When I wake, the winter sun is bright against a clear blue sky. It feels like a good day for a reckoning. I dress carefully, choosing a tie and a pressed shirt. I want to look respectable. I want the bank manager, the notary, and my son to see a man who is in full command of his faculties. They will be witnesses, not to my decline, but to his. He just has to set the stage for his own downfall first. I make coffee, the rich aroma filling the kitchen. I don't add the bay leaf today. That was for me, for my memories. Today's for business. I sit and wait. Punctual as always when money is involved. Philip's car pulls into the driveway at exactly 10. He comes to the door not with a key, but with a sharp, expectant rap of his knuckles. He is no longer asking for entry. He is announcing his arrival, the new lord of the manor. I open the door and smile. Morning, Dad. Ready to go? He's wearing a suit, the power suit. He looks like he's heading to a closing, which, in his mind, he is. I nod, picking up my briefcase from the hall table. He eyes it with satisfaction. Good. You've got the documents. This will only take a few minutes. Then we can put all this unpleasantness behind us. The condescension is so thick, I could cut it with a knife. Unpleasantness. He calls his attempt to strip me of my assets an unpleasantness. A minor chore to be completed. The drive to the bank is mostly silent. He turns on the news, some financial report about market volatility. He is trying to project an aura of competence, of a man who understands the world of money. I just look out the window at the passing scenery. The bare trees, the gray sky. It all looks different today. Sharper, more defined. I feel a strange sense of detachment, as if I am watching a movie of my own life. A movie where I know exactly how the final scene will play out. It's a powerful feeling. We walk into the bank's main branch. The air is warm and smells of clean carpets and currency. Philip greets the manager by name, a man named Henderson, who is all teeth and handshake. Mr. Henderson, good to see you. My father and I are here to get some trust documents notarized and make some changes to his accounts. Henderson ushers us toward his glass-walled office with an oily deference. Philip is a man on the rise, and the world bends for men like that. For now, inside the office, the air is hushed. Henderson directs us to comfortable chairs, then signals for a notary. Philip, brimming with self-importance, pulls out my briefcase, opens it, and removes the stack of papers he believes are his. He spreads them on Henderson's desk. We need to get these documents notarized. Specifically, the quitclaim deed for the Clearwater property. My father is transferring it into a new family trust. Henderson here can help us with. He speaks of me as if I am not present, a piece of furniture to be moved. I simply watch, an old accountant observing a flawed ledger. The notary, a polite woman named Carol, arrives with her stamp and logbook. She reviews the first document Philip presents, a general power of attorney. This grants Mr. Philip Price durable power of attorney over Walter Price's affairs. Walter, do you understand and agree to this? She asks, looking at me directly. Philip interjects, yes, he does. We've discussed this extensively. It's for his own good to ensure his finances are managed properly. He tries to catch my eye. A glint of triumph there. I hold his gaze, unblinking. Walter? Carol prompts again, patiently. I nod. I understand. It is true. I understand perfectly. This power of attorney is a temporary concession, a false flag. It will give him a fleeting sense of victory, only to be snatched away. It is part of the larger calculation, a small expense in the grand scheme. The notary stamps the paper. Philip smiles, a wider, more confident smile now. He thinks he has secured control. He has secured a blank piece of paper, soon to be meaningless. Next, he slides forward the quitclaim deed for the Clearwater duplex, parcel 2215173450, showing my name as the grantor and his proposed family trust as the grantee. Carol begins to review it, her brow furrowing slightly. She looks up. Mr. Price, Walter, before you sign this, can I confirm that you are the sole owner of this property and it is free and clear of any other encumbrances or trusts? Philip scoffs. Of course. It was my mother's. Now it's my father's sole asset. Standard transfer. I watch Carol. She is diligent. Her finger traces the lines of the document. Then, she pauses, her eyes moving from the quitclaim deed to her computer screen. She types something, then scrolls. Philip drums his fingers on a desk, impatience radiating from him. He is already mentally selling the duplex, spending the $612,000 on his lake house. He does not see the tiny ripple of concern crossing Carol's face. He only sees the finish line. He is blind to the landmines. Excuse me, Mr. Price, Carol says, her voice softer now, more formal. It appears there's been a recent filing concerning this parcel. A transfer on death deed filed yesterday morning. It shows the property was transferred to the Elaine Price Charitable Trust. She looks at me, a hint of curiosity in her gaze. Philip's drumming stops. The silence in the room stretches, thick and heavy. Henderson shifts uncomfortably in his seat. The cold winter light in the office suddenly feels very bright. Philip stares at Carol, his mouth slightly open. What? That's impossible. My father would have told me. He hasn't signed anything else. He turns to me, his face starting to redden. Dad, what is she talking about? What trust? You didn't sign anything for a charitable trust. He demands, his voice rising, all pretense of a calm, concerned son evaporating. The mask is off. I sip my coffee, letting the warmth spread through me. The coffee tastes good today. It tastes of victory, bitter and sweet. Yes, Philip, I did, I say, my voice even, calm. Last year, on January 3rd, Elaine and I set it up together with Mr. Abernathy. It's an irrevocable trust. The property was transferred yesterday morning. The Clearwater duplex is no longer my property, nor is it part of my estate. It belongs to the trust now. I see the comprehension dawn in his eyes, slow and agonizing. The shock, then the dawning horror. The $612,000 he had already spent in his mind vaporizes, leaving nothing but dust. An irrevocable trust, Philip sputters, his face now a mottled crimson. You mean, you can't change it? You can't sign it over to my trust? He looks frantically at Henderson, as if the bank manager can somehow magic away the legal reality. Henderson clears his throat. I'm afraid, Philip, if the property is already in an irrevocable trust, particularly a charitable one with survivorship provisions, your father, as the former owner, no longer has the legal standing to transfer it. The trust is its own legal entity. Jessica, who had remained silent, now bursts in, her voice shrill. But the listing, we have a pre-approval. You promised us, Walter. You said you'd consolidate everything. She points an accusing finger at me. I meet her gaze. I promised to look over the papers, Jessica. I never promised to sign anything that went against Elaine's wishes. The Clearwater duplex, after my death, will provide scholarships for nursing students at the community college. That was Elaine's dream. My words hang in the air. A final, unassailable truth. Philip surges to his feet, knocking his chair over. You old fool! You did this deliberately. You let us plan everything. You let us think. His voice trails off, replaced by a choked, inarticulate sound of rage. He lunges across the desk, grabbing the sack of papers. The quitclaim deed, The power of attorney, all the documents he thought would make him rich, now just flimsy pieces of paper. Mocking his ambition, he tears them in half, then again, showering the desk with shredded dreams. Carol recoils. Henderson, regaining his composure, steps forward. Philip, please, this is a bank. I'm going to have to ask you to calm down. But Philip is beyond calm. He turns on me, his eyes burning with a venomous fury I've never seen directed at me before. You'll regret this, Dad. You'll be alone. You'll have nothing. He screams. I simply look at him. He is so far from understanding what I truly have, what Elaine and I truly built. He confuses material wealth with real value, with love, with legacy. Philip, I say, my voice cutting through his rage, I am not alone. I have Elaine's memory, and the trust ensures her memory lives on, helping others. As for having nothing, I turn to Henderson. Mr. Henderson, if you could please assist me with one other matter. I'd like to transfer the funds from Act//2198 into a new, restricted access account solely in my name, and I'd like to place a hold on my primary checking account for any withdrawals exceeding $500 without my express in-person authorization. Philip stares, his face pale now, the blood drained away by this new revelation. Act it, 2198. He knows that account fragment. He had seen it on an old tax return, dismissed it as a minor retirement fund. He has no idea of its true balance, of the decades of careful growth, the hundreds of thousands of dollars he thought were just out of reach, waiting to be consolidated into his grasp. Now they are not just out of reach. They are locked away, protected by a password he will never know, protected by Elaine. Henderson nods, already at his computer. Of course, Mr. Price, we can set that up immediately. And the new account, what password would you like for that? He looks at me, waiting. I glance at Philip, whose face is a mask of disbelief, then back at Henderson. The password, I say, a faint smile touching my lips, will be Elaine's gardenias. The words are clear, echoing in the quiet office. Philip flinches, as if struck. The significance, the private meaning, is not lost on him. It is a lock he cannot pick, a code he cannot break. A door slams shut in his face. Jessica rushes to Philip's side, trying to calm him. Philip, please, we can discuss this at home. This isn't the place. Her voice is pleading, but her eyes dart to me, a sudden fear replacing her earlier entitlement. They had walked in here with such certainty, such arrogant assumptions. They had believed they held all the cards, that I was merely a pawn in their game. Now, the table has turned. The game has always been mine, and they are losing spectacularly. The entire office staff can probably hear her. Everyone in the lobby. Henderson, Philip growls, ignoring Jessica, his voice laced with venom. My father has just granted me durable power of attorney. I should have access to these accounts. He's clearly not in his right mind. Henderson shakes his head gently. Philip, the power of attorney applies to managing existing assets, but it does not supersede your father's right as the primary account holder to make changes or create new restrictions, especially when he is present, and clearly articulate his wishes. Terrell, the notary, steps forward, holding her logbook. And I can attest that Walter Price is of sound mind and willingly executing these actions. Her words are a final official stamp on his defeat. Philip glares at me, his eyes promising retribution. But it is an empty threat. His leverage is gone. His power is gone. He is just the son, standing in a bank realizing he has been outmaneuvered by the man he underestimated. The man he believed was too old, too grief-stricken, too simple to fight back. I need to leave, Philip mutters, grabbing Jessica by the arm. He storms out of the office, pushing past Carol, his face a mask of thwarted fury and humiliation. Jessica shoots me one last desperate look, a mixture of anger and disbelief, before being dragged away. The sound of their footsteps echoes through the quiet bank lobby, a final, fading note of their grand failed scheme. I sit in the comfortable chair, the air suddenly lighter, cleaner, a fresh start. The bitterness of the coffee lingers, but now it's a good bitterness, the taste of justice. Henderson clears his throat. Well, Walter, That was unexpected. He offers a weak smile, but completely within your rights, of course. We'll have those account changes processed for you right away. Is there anything else I can help you with today? I shake my head. No, Henderson. That will be all. Thank you for your professionalism. I rise, feeling the strength in my legs, a lightness in my step I haven't felt in weeks. The weight of their expectations, their entitlement, has been lifted. I walk out of the bank, alone, into the cold winter sun. The streets are bustling, people rushing to their various appointments, their lives unfolding. I feel a sense of peace I haven't known since Elaine passed. Not a perfect peace, not a return to what was, but a new kind of peace. A peace born of quiet resolve, of protecting what was sacred, of upholding a promise made to the woman I loved. The key to the Clearwater duplex, the one tied with the blue ribbon, is still in my pocket, but it is just a memento now. The true key was always the trust, the foresight Elaine and I shared. My phone buzzes. It's Philip. I look at the caller ID, then slide the phone back into my pocket without answering. I know what he wants. He wants to argue, to plead, to demand. He wants to try and pick at the edges of my decision, to find a crack in my resolve. But there are no cracks. The foundation is solid. The trust is irrevocable. My will is unbreakable. He will learn, in time, that not every old man is a pushover. Not every grief is a weakness. Sometimes, grief forges a steel backbone stronger than any ambition. I decide to walk home. The crisp air invigorates me. I think of Elaine, of our talks, of the quiet evenings planning our future, a future that included securing a legacy beyond mere money. She would have approved. Her spirit, her wisdom guided me through this. The gardenias she loved, the ones she tended so carefully in pots by the back door, they will bloom again next spring. A symbol of enduring beauty, of life continuing, of promises kept. A promise to her, and a promise to myself, that I would not be diminished. As I pass the community college, I look at the buildings, imagining the nursing students who will benefit from Elaine's generosity. It fills me with a quiet warmth. This is the real inheritance. Not a $612,000 property for selfish gain, but a chance for young people to build their own lives, to contribute, to heal. This is the legacy Elaine truly wanted. This is the true meaning of the Clearwater duplex. Philip saw a number. Elaine and I saw a future. And the future belongs to her vision, not his. I reach my street, the familiar houses lined up neatly, their windows reflecting the afternoon sun. My house looks welcoming. No longer a battleground, but a haven. The cedar panels glow with a soft light. The butcher block table is empty, clear of documents, clear of avarice. Only the lingering scent of coffee and bay leaf remains, a scent of home, of memory, of a life well lived, and a life that will continue to be lived on my own terms, free from the grasping hands of my son. I unlock the front door, the solid click a sound of security, of independence. I step inside, hanging my coat on the hall tree. The quiet of the house is no longer oppressive. It is contemplative. I glance into the dining room. Philip's torn papers are gone from Henderson's desk, but the memory of their shredding remains, a vivid, satisfying image, an indelible mark on the day. The memory of his face, stunned, then enraged, then utterly defeated. It is not vengeance, not truly. It is simply balance, an accountant's final reckoning. I walk into my office. The stack of Philip's unused documents, the ones I had placed in my old work briefcase, still lies on the blotter. I pick them up. The quitclaim deed, the power of attorney, the proposed new trust, all the instruments of his attempted theft. They feel inert now, lifeless. Their power has vanished, replaced by the weight of my own quiet, decisive actions. I shred them, one by one, watching the paper turn into thin ribbons falling into the wastebasket. A small, cathartic act. A final, definitive end to his plans. I sit at my desk, looking at my personal ledger. All the numbers align. My financial future is secure. Elaine's legacy is secure. The loose ends are tied. My retirement, once a source of their predatory interest, is now an impregnable fortress. They can scream all they want. Their words are just wind now. They cannot touch me. They cannot touch what Elaine and I built. They cannot touch the peace I have finally found in protecting it. They cannot touch the satisfaction of knowing that the good will always outweigh the greed. The phone rings again. It's a block number. I know it's them. They're probably calling from Jessica's phone or trying to trick me. I let it ring and ring. I have nothing left to say to them. There are no explanations to offer, no apologies to make. They made their choices. I made mine. And my choices were guided by love, by loyalty, by a promise. Their choices were guided by something far less noble. And that is the difference that matters, the difference that separates us now, irrevocably. I'd pull out a worn leather-bound journal. Elaine gave it to me on my 65th birthday. For your thoughts, Walter, she had said. Keep them somewhere safe. I open it to a blank page. The date today, I write. The Clearwater duplex is safe. Elaine's dream will be fulfilled. Philip and Jessica came today. They left with nothing but their pride, shredded. The final accounting is done. The balance is just. A knock on the back door. It is Mrs. Rodriguez, my neighbor, with a plate of her famous empanadas. She worries about me being alone. Walter, I thought you might like some dinner. You look like you had a busy day. Her kindness is a balm. I accept the plate, thanking her warmly. Her simple generosity, her genuine care, stands in stark contrast to the calculating cruelty I faced just hours before. This is what true wealth feels like. Not money, but connection. Not assets, but affection. The small, everyday kindnesses that sustain a life. I sit at the kitchen table, savoring the warm empanadas. The taste is rich, comforting. I think of the empty dining room, the cold winter light. The way Philip looked at the papers, at me, as if I were merely a means to an end. It seems a lifetime ago, though it was only this morning. The sharp, bitter edge of betrayal has been dulled, replaced by the sweet satisfaction of resolution. The long shadow of their greed has been dispelled by my own quiet surgical countermove. And for the first time in weeks, the quiet of the house feels like freedom. The brass key to the Clearwater duplex, the one with the faded blue ribbon, is still in my pocket. I take it out, turning it over in my fingers. It is light, insignificant now, a symbol of a battle won, not a possession held. It will never open a door for Philip. It will never pave the way for his lake house, for his grand plans of leveraging my grief for his gain. It will remain in my keeping, a quiet reminder of Elaine's foresight, of her enduring love, and of my promise to protect her wishes, no matter the cost, no matter the betrayal. The memory of Elaine's smile is my greatest treasure. The winter sun dips below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. The house begins to fill with soft shadows. I feel no anger, no resentment, only a profound sense of closure. The chapter of their entitlement is closed. The chapter of my quiet resilience begins. I have done what was necessary, what was right. And in doing so, I have found a strength I didn't know I still possessed. The accountant in me finds a certain elegant beauty in the precision of the plan, the perfect execution, the final, undeniable balance sheet. A clean slate, finally, for me. I pick up the remote and turn on the evening news, the familiar drone of headlines filling the quiet space. The world outside continues, oblivious to the small, precise victory that occurred within these walls today. A battle fought not with shouts, but with paperwork. Not with aggression, but with patience, and won irrevocably by an underestimated elder. The television glows, casting a blue light across the cedar panels. The duplex, the trust, the accounts, all settled. All of it. Irrevocably.